Hi there, welcome. This is Diane out and about, and I'm going to do a movie review for New Moon, or as my friend would call it, Lame Moon, or as my other name I'd call it, Men Without Shirts. I've been so looking forward to seeing this movie, not because I'm a big fan of the books or whatever, but because I had seen Twilight, and this isn't a book review, this is a movie review, and so because I don't have the experience of the books behind me, it has to stand alone as a movie. So I have some good things to say and some things that were of concern perhaps, and just right from the beginning, let me just say that I absolutely do recommend seeing it for several reasons. First of all, if you're a woman versus a man, I gotta tell you, you're gonna have opinions all over the map on this. The women seem to love it, the men seem to hate it. So I think that there can be something really to learn here for the men, to really study these characters and to say, why do these women love this so much? And in my Blondes Prefer Gentlemen series, I talk about the things that women want from men. And so for that reason alone, if you're a guy, that's a reason to see this, to see what it is that women are just crazy about. And it's not just the bare-chested, muscly, six-pack, beautiful skin. It's not that. It's that these men offer their amazing strength and protection and undying devotion. And that is probably something that is so in need of today. And this is one of the reasons why the women absolutely love it. It also was great to see in a live theater with other people who were watching it as opposed to home on a video in several months, because the whole energy in the theater was amazing, because it elicits such strong emotions. So people are screaming out, Team Edward! Team Jacob! Somebody else screamed, Team Philip! And then, of course, when Jacob rips off his shirt to wipe the blood off her forehead, the screaming, that he revealed his amazing chest was just, it's hysterical. For that reason alone, it's just so funny, because it's just this amazingly passionate audience, one way or the other. So there's a couple little things that that I wanted to mention in my review. I do not understand, with a name like Bella, why she is not a more compelling character. It's so hard for me to fall in love with her as a character. There just was zero character development. I just didn't get that from her. She's kind of a flat character, and so why she has these two guys, the werewolf and the vampire, just totally enamored and enraptured by her, is just a mystery to me. Yeah, she's cute, but she's sort of melancholy, she's brooding, she's not very well-spoken. She doesn't have any real interesting things about her. I think in the book they say, oh, her blood just smells amazing. Well, what's interesting about that? And also that, they can't read her thoughts. But that's nothing that she did. So there's nothing that she does as a person that makes her interesting. She's not like an art student, or she doesn't have anything special skills. Anyway, so I'm not trying to diss her. I'm just saying I don't understand, because I haven't read the books perhaps, why they're so enraptured with her. But that being said, I don't know, her wardrobe was a little weird to me too, but anyway, that's just my thing. There are some good things. I loved how some of the special effects were so believable, and of course magical, because they're special effects. But like when Edward takes off his shirt and he goes out in the sunlight, he sparkles, and I love everything that sparkles. To make my skin sparkle in the sun, I have this little puffy thing that I go, oh, he's so lucky, his skin just naturally does. So I was impressed with his sparkly skin. Also, the effects of the werewolves and the vampires were really quite impressive. It wasn't, campy looking effects. They were really amazing looking, and it was exciting. It was a really fast, it went by really, really fast. And the other part I didn't quite get here is after Edward departs, and she's agonizing over his departure because, of course, since they're inseparable and eternal love, why would he leave her? Well, he leaves her because at a family gathering of his, since he's a vampire, something happens where her blood gets exposed on her finger, and people in her family are trying to attack her. So he decides for her ultimate safety that even though he loves her, and it's difficult for him to be around her because he has to control his own self around her, that it's better for her protection that he leave. So he leaves, and as he leaves, now this provides the moment for Jacob to come in. So then as time is passing and she's getting through her depression and her depression and her depression, I guess this is sort of a producer choice to give our narration through these sort of lame emails to Edward's sister, who suddenly she's best friends with. I didn't get that. Why? She's not friends with Alice. Alice is Edward's sister, so why does she send her emails instead of him? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, but anyway, that was a choice to carry us along with the narration, and it was okay. It just didn't work for me. But also, when she does see her later and she throws her arms around her, and, you know, it's like, this is so out of character for her because she doesn't do that to anybody. She's not excitable about anything. And even though, you know, some may argue, well, that's because she was just completely overcome, it really was out of character for her. And as were her nightmares that were screaming fits of nightmares, which allowed us to see how awesome her dad was. But, you know, when you're, I just was listening to something too about how little traits like that when you're a kid are so endearing, but as you get older, you know, those moments of weakness and stuff, they're kind of repulsive. And that's, you know, who has night fits that scream when you're like, ah! I mean, you don't even do that in real life, so why would you do it in your sleep? I don't think you, like, become this alter ego just because you're sleeping. And so that was a little bit out of character, too. But, of course, it was loud enough that it would alert her dad, and so gave us a chance to see him more often. I thought he did an excellent job on there. The other thing that was cool was, of course, their eyes. I love seeing the different kinds of contacts and what that does looking for people. Later, when she goes to, because Edward thinks she's dead and he goes to, you know, kill himself in front of this big council or whatever, she runs and she's trying to get to him so that he does know that she's alive. And it was a really fascinating artistic scene as she's going through this city where they're having this this big festival of people who are denouncing vampires or whatever, and they're all wearing these red hoods, and so it kind of looked like a little Red Riding Hood convention. That was a very interesting scene, visually speaking, and it was a beautifully visually appealing movie. One of my favorite things about seeing a movie that is kind of epic like this is the beautiful landscape. When we go to the movies, it's a great chance to just simply escape and go to another place. I know when I saw The Proposal, just the setting of it was so beautiful, and it just lets us take a little step out of our own existence and be placed into another one. And so where this movie is set is really beautiful also. It has beautiful woods, there's beautiful ocean, and that's really pretty too. Love the house that the vampires live in. That's a really cool house too. So anyway, that was cool. The werewolves, the vampires, their deep-seated feud between them, that is something else that I didn't get, you know, in the movie alone, but I understand their treaty that they had. So, I mean, it was entertaining. It wasn't something that, you know, obviously with werewolves and vampires and stuff, it's not reality by any stretch, but there were some interesting things too that I had to appreciate about this movie, which was that I would have been just fine having my children with me or my grandparents with me, and I applauded that alone because there wasn't, you know, profanity, there wasn't, you know, crazy nudity other than the guys taking off their shirts. There was nothing gratuitous except for that. It was just entertaining without all that. There was enough blood, barely blood, just so that we can see what, you know, made the vampires go crazy. But it wasn't gory like that. And so that is another thing that I appreciated. Another interesting thing that I happened to note was the use of Edward's image as he left to warn Bella when she was going to be facing a little bit of danger or something. And knowing the author is a spiritual woman, she shares my faith, and that is very much like the Holy Spirit works for us to help to guide us in a very real way, sometimes even with an actual voice saying, don't go there, keep walking. And so that I thought was an interesting element that the author included, having Edward appear to help to protect her like that. So I was really looking forward to seeing this movie. I had a friend who had tickets to the actual premiere in Hollywood last weekend, and he got to meet all the producers, all the stars, and he was there on the red carpet, and it was just a frenzy. And I think that alone is, you know, to see why people in this day and age become so passionate about something like that, that's worth looking into. And so that is my review of New Moon. I definitely recommend seeing it, and go with an open mind and an open heart, and just enjoy the energy that's in the theater, because I mean I just would go, oh my gosh, I'm just laughing because, you know, they're swooning over, you know, whatever, and I'm like, oh, am I drooling myself? Anyway, having worked out for months and months, I know how much work that is to sculpt your body to do that. So that in and of itself, I really did appreciate the sacrifice that they made, and maybe that's why it was such a big thing, like, oh, we've been working really hard. We have to make sure we show, you know, our bodies as much as we can. So, Men Without Shirts, I mean, New Moon review. Check it out. I think it's entertaining, and I may go see it again. Who knows? Thanks for watching. I'm Diane, out and about. One woman's opinion.